Welcome back. You find us anchored in Honeymoon Bay beside one of the Kimberley's most remote campgrounds, Honeymoon Bay campsite. We are coming ashore today for the number one reason of going for a run, but also as a reward for said exercise to have a warm shower in the campsite's rustic facilities. The novel way to warm running water for the campsite showers is to heat it yourself. First you need to find some wood. Next, to make a fire under the old tin water tub. Wait 20 minutes and hey presto, you've got yourself some steaming hot water.
So the deal is, it's got coils inside the tin here, and the water that's in there is heated, and the water that's in the coils is what's heating our hot water. It's the water we're going to be using, or Rachel's going to be using.
Tanks
anyway.
up on the roof, and
So
yeah, it just circulates through. Rob says he doesn't want a hot shower, so he better not turn on the hot tap. This is all for me.
honestly, I'm happy with a cold shower.
Good, have a cold shower.
Yeah.
I would like...
What a faff.
Yeah, I don't have very many hot showers. I just thought this was it's a novel way of getting your water warm.
I say we put ice cubes in the tank.
You know what, I need a shower after making the fire to warm the water.
Look at it go.
It's really dry wood, so it's gonna burn really well. Ooh! Jeez. Yeah. Maybe we should move this stuff away. That wind changed everything. And all our wood was sitting at the front. We were going to go for a run while the water was heating, but we seem to have got quite a healthy fire there. We're worried about burning down the property, so we're just going to do some exercises here. Keep an eye on the fire.
Although it's settling down pretty fast now,
we've
even,
wet
isn't it?
all around it now.
Yeah, got those out.
We've brought in a whole load of little finches, little tiny little finches who love the water. They've come to have a drink, and yeah, so we'll exercise.
So as you know, I prefer bare feet, and but on occasions I have to wear shoes if it's really rocky. But this is what happens when you wear shoes. They get holes in them, and they become unusable, which kind of defeats the purpose of having shoes if they're unusable, because they've been used too much. So the trick is, don't use them too much, and then they become usable. They remain usable. These are not, well, they're still usable just.
We did go for a run in the end because all the fire died down, so it felt safe to leave it. Now we are suitably fatigued and ready to wash that sweat off, and breakfast, it looks like, is almost ready.
Makes you hungry.
Well, that water's warm, so hopefully the water that runs through it is warm too. Ooh, wow, that is hot. That was lovely. The water is so warm. I'm going to go and get the kids. I think they should have a shower too.
So Chanel, what do you make of all this? Are you enjoying your time here?
Yeah.
You okay to talk on camera?
Not really.
Showers aren't the reason we're anchored in Honeymoon Bay. We hang our heads in shame to admit we have come to the campsite in search of internet so we can upload a vlog, and while we're at it, make a food order to Coles Supermarket in Darwin to be brought out by the fortnightly barge that supplies the remote Aboriginal settlement and former mission of Kalumburu. Rob has spent many hours in the campsite phone box checking and rechecking that our order will be delivered on time to the shipping office in Darwin before the barge pushes off on its 3-day voyage across the Bonaparte Gulf and into Deep Bay for collection.
Whoa, that was a mission, getting that organised. Let's hope it all works out. Food's really hard to get, and there's no other place we can get the food. The nearest town from here is Kalumburu, and we're not allowed there because there's still restrictions. When the COVID restrictions came off, the town folk, this is more of a village, the elders decide to retain the restrictions there. However, we did get in there several days ago with a minor medical emergency. The campground owners here, Lancho, very kindly took us in, and while we were there, he actually did a little bit of a shop up for us. Now, they clearly haven't had a top up recently because there wasn't much food left there. Lancho got us a bit of food to tie us over while we wait for the new supplies to come in. What are you looking for? Ah.
That's the one small one, a bit bigger, but oh, here's a better one.
Ah, bush almond.
Bush almond, that's a Kalumburu, they're only in Kalumburu. Kalumburu almond, we call them.
Oh, really? So it's unique to this area.
You were gone a long time.
Yeah, long time.
Where'd you go?
You did the surgery.
Did you really?
Chopped you open.
No. Did you go to Kalumburu?
Yeah.
Did you go too, Rob?
Yep.
Oh. How come they let you go?
Because I'm special needs.
Okay. What'd the doctor say? You're not going to talk to me, are you? Chanel's not going to talk to me. Did you get what you wanted?
Yeah, I did.
In the meantime, tomorrow we're going to go to Pago Mission, which is just in the next bay over from where we are at the moment. It'll be a nice little day trip, and go from there. Check it out.
What remains of the original mission settlement at Pago is a short walk from the beach at Mission Cove. Unfortunately, Rob and the boys didn't make it further than the former Kalumburu campground because internet. So I'm standing beside the old Pago mission that was established here in 1908, and it ran till 1939. It took them till the 1920s to establish a relationship with the Aboriginal people. But they didn't have enough water and the soil was poor here, and eventually, after years of work, they had to move the mission into Kalumburu, where it still exists. Not that many missions were established, and they didn't run for very long. More ran for longer here in Western Australia and in the Northern Territory, and some are still going, like the Kalumburu today. But there's mixed feelings about whether they were a good thing or a bad thing. On the one hand, they gave education, shelter, food, and on the other hand, they took away the Indigenous people's culture, their language, and their customs. So, was that a good exchange? I don't know. Very disappointingly, the menfolk have been bewitched by the internet at the old campground that used to run closer to the beach. They're missing out on all this history.
So I'm in the Kimberley. I was going to show you where I am. You're telling me there's going to be internet out here. I'm surrounded by just land and trees. I think I've found it. Just over there is a house. It has a satellite dish and everything. Could be a telephone box, and it looks like it has internet, so let's go check it out, hey? Telephone box. Hello? This seems a little too random, but hey, I have internet. I ain't complaining.
Okay, Declan, you came into the saloon and said what?
That I almost sunk the boat, and that.
Right, so let's wind back the clock. We were in starboard engine. I showed you what to do what?
You got me to go in and just tighten up the seacock just by hand, and then I had to, for the last little bit it got too tight, and I had to use that little pipe to close it off fully.
Right. And then what happened?
And then I went over to port engine to do the same thing, but for some reason I thought that I had to twist it the other way, anti-clockwise. And so I did that, and then it was really hard, so I used the tool.
From the outset it was really hard. And I said to you, what, before you went and did it?
You said don't use the tool, but I'd forgotten that. I didn't take that in. And so yeah, I used the tool and I backed it out, and it wasn't going in, and I was like, what the heck, why isn't it going in? And then there was like this drip of water and stuff, and I was like, oh, that doesn't seem right. And then I saw the whole thing was coming out, and I was like, oh, that's not very good. And so I turned it back the other way. Bob's your uncle, seacock closed.
We want to keep these seacocks from seizing up, so I'm trying to close them regularly. Getting close to closing it, you often have to use the little pipe just to get it closed completely. So henceforth, on the starboard one at the last minute, Declan had to do a couple of tweaks with the pipe. And I said to him on the port engine, actually it's easier. The port engine one, you shouldn't have to use the pipe at all, but take it with you just in case. And what happened was, because he started trying to undo it, it was already undone, he tried to undo it further. Of course it won't go any further, so he started using the pipe from the outset. And of course eventually, if he's strong enough, and he is strong enough, and with the leverage of the pipe, he managed to basically pull out, so we've discovered there's a little washer and an O-ring that's inside the barrel that when he was undoing the whole shaft, it was pushing this washer and O-ring out of the barrel, and it got to such a point that it started leaking, as Declan said. That's not good. That's what's been pulled out. What we've got to do now is try and get the O-ring and that washer back inside the barrel.
How's that in? It's not, I don't see it anymore. No, it's still there. Is it? Oh yeah, it looks like it's poking on your side a bit more. So it's in there a bit, is it? Yeah, it's quite a way in on my side. I might have got it too far. I'm quite away now. Guess how far under you take it? I think that's probably far enough actually. Yeah, I think so. Okay. Oh, it's not coming out, is it? No. No, that's right. There's water coming out still. Why is that? Must be a long way in, perhaps. Okay. That's way more out than normal. Gee, that O-ring could have been damaged too. Okay, that's closed. Looks a bit watery. Jeez. Just have to watch it under motor.
When you were on those lower revs, it was just slow drip, like dripping once every 2-3 seconds. And now that you've put the revs like up, what, 250?
Yeah, it was 1900 and about 2,500 now.
Yeah. Yeah, it stopped. So I guess just like that more power is just sucking through the water just past that little crack, or whatever it's getting through.
So I think what I might do actually is, when I can, I'll turn that engine off. We're going right into the headwind at the moment, so we'll just get out of here and get into an angle where we can sail. And I'll turn off port engine and let it and dry it all out inside that barrel as much as we can. And I think I'll block it up. Either I'm just thinking about whether I use epoxy, or maybe I'll just use a really good silicone sealant. It's still got a bit of flex in it, because that whole thing, as you can see, is vibrating a lot, and an epoxy may crack and start leaking again. So I think I'll get a silicone once it's all dried out in there, cooled down and whatever, and just seal it off the end, because we're never going to open it up that much further again. And when we get to Darwin, my intention is to replace that whole seacock again. Another seacock changing job. Yoo-hoo!
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that episode and you're new to our channel, maybe you'd like to watch our playlist right from the very beginning up here. Or if you just like one vlog, here's one we did on the west coast where we got into a spot of bother with the authorities. See you next time.
Come on, eat it so bad.